Bit of news and gossip, bit of tittle-tattle, bit of... Actually, there's no shenanigans. I was going to say shenanigans. No shenanigans at all today. What do we got? We got a bit of Scamacca. 2 bits of Scamacca. We've got some Souček. We've got some Ben Johnson, some David Frattesi, and some Jason Denayer, who I always think sounds like Denayer. He basically never owns up to anything, does Jason. Anyway, let's start with, I guess we'll start with, there's 2 things with Scamacca. You've got Mancini, who's obviously the Italian manager, and then you've got some comments from his former club, Sassuolo. Let's deal with, because Mancini ain't happy. He's not happy with the playing time that Scamacca's getting at West Ham. And this feeds into, I think, a little bit of a bigger story that we've got going on at the club, which is when you purchase players and when you buy, I guess, players with a higher profile than you had before, as a sort of byproduct, they're going to be international footballers. And international footballers want to play international football. Players have been known to move clubs just to get international football, because if you're not playing at a certain club, your international manager is not going to pick you, unless your name's Harry Maguire. Your international manager is not going to pick you. So that's basically where it is. There's not a huge amount of competition for Italy's strikers. And Mancini has basically said, look, I'm trying to build a team here, but I'm having a bit of trouble with Italian strikers who are not getting regular league, there's the word there, league game time for their clubs, which is causing us a little bit of a problem. Now, that's a problem for West Ham. The reason it's a problem for West Ham is if Mancini's going to say it to the press, Mancini's definitely saying it to Scamacca. If Scamacca is hearing those words, then he's feeling a bit of weight on his shoulders. He's feeling the burden there, isn't he? So anytime he's not selected to play for West Ham, he's probably thinking, oh, is Mancini watching? What's going on? Is this being noted? I guess the real benefit is he's getting some Europa Conference. I was going to say Europos Kapos, not this year, he's getting some conference time, isn't he, really? So, I don't know. Watch this space, I think, as far as that's concerned. He's not on his own either. I mean, we really need to be careful when you get these players. I mean, it's sort of why Paqueta has to start. Paqueta has to play. We're be in a lot of trouble, I think, with him, with his agent, with everybody. If basically we don't play him, we don't get the best out of him, we drop him, and he basically gets pulled from the Brazil squad, then that don't bear thinking about. So it's just important, I feel, when you get these international players in, that they play. Scamacca did play for Frattesi. Obviously, you saw him play against England, funny enough. And as I understand it, Cornet's been playing as well. Areola's had some game time. So, Scamacca's played. Good, good. But we need to try and harness some of that international quality, I feel, and put it into our team. There's going to be a lot of change. I feel there's going to be a lot of change. I'm really hopeful this two weeks has done West Ham some good. We haven't had all the players there on the training ground, but there's enough there that hopefully he can work on. Maybe it's a chance for someone like Flynn Downs to impress, because Souček's been off. We'll get to him in just a second. Declan Rice has been there. Maybe it's a chance for him to impress in training, at least. The other thing with Sassuolo, at the club that Scamacca came from, their director of football, Giovanni Cannavale, and you know him, Gio. We call it that, not that Gio, different Gio. He's basically said he was disappointed to sell Scamacca to West Ham. So he said, for Scamacca, we had 0 offers from Italy. I wasn't happy about it. I'd like to see him in our league. He's a young man. Yes, indeed he is. And he is in the national team. However, the market value was high. And in our country, the economic situation is difficult. It's difficult in every country, isn't it? He said, fortunately, there are Premier League clubs who can afford him. So we are satisfied with this transfer. Oh, that's very big of you, Gio. Not you, different Gio. That's very big of you. Very big of you. Thank you very much. So basically, we will accept, if I must, we will accept your 35 million euros. Oh, very kind. It's just funny how he's put it. Like it's just a weird one, isn't he? He's a young man in the national team. However, the market value is high. Well, you set that market value. The market value is high. That's your price tag. That's like me selling something on eBay and trying to sell it for twice its value, and then turning around and saying, oh, not many people are buying this, but you know what? It's quite an expensive item. But it's an expensive item because I've made it an expensive item. Anyway, Very gracious of Giovanni Cannavale. While we're on that subject, actually, so Sassuolo have another player. They had a couple of players out. Raspadori, he's gone. Is he at Napoli now? Might be at Napoli. Napoli or Lazio. One or two. Doesn't matter. They had another player, not him, not Raspadori. It's David Frattesi. Now, David Frattesi is a midfielder. Apparently, we are interested in this guy. Oh, I find it hard to believe. I find that one hard to believe. I've got to say, I've had a little look, had a little sneaky peek. Skillful player, actually. But I just can't see it. I took one look at it and thought, there's just no way. There's no way. Couldn't see any way for him to get into David Moyes' team. Let's be fair. There are plenty of players who can't get into David Moyes' team at the moment. Maybe if he dresses up and puts on, gets one of the latex mask, gets one commission, pretends he's Pablo Fornals or something like that, he might get into the team. Puts on some stilts, pretends he's Thomas Souček or something, he might get into the team. But David Frattesi, I'm pretty sure he's not coming to West Ham. You heard it here first. That's only if he's not. If he does come, you didn't hear it here first. It's someone else's story. That's the way you got to do it, right? That's the way you got to do it. Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson's back in training. Ben Johnson's been training while everybody else has been off playing international football, apparently. I haven't seen him myself, but apparently he's been back in training. That's good news, right? I really feel that we need a freshness to the team. I don't want to see the same team line up again. So, whilst obviously, hopefully you watched yesterday's video, somebody did anyway, which was about me saying that I'd like Thilo Kehrer to play at right back. That much is true. If he doesn't, I'd like to see Ben Johnson play there. I'd like to see a mix up of the team. I'd like to see 3 or 4 changes for that team. Just to, I think, it's not even tactical. It's just to change the energy of the team. It's to change that sort of dynamic. It's to change, I don't know, the attitude, the motivation, whatever, the team spirit, something. I just want to change some of the component parts of what must be, I guess, a little bit melancholy, a little bit glum in terms of the results we've had and some of the performances. So let's sharpen that up, put some new, more excitable players in. Not necessarily more exciting in terms of playing, but I don't know, a little bit more. Maybe they won't be weighted down with the doom and gloom of the previous few games. So I'd get Flynn Downs in here, I'd get Ben Johnson in, I'd get Dawson in there, mix things up a bit, change it up. That brings us to, so that's Ben Johnson. That just brings us on to the last one. Jason Denayer. Or Denayer. Every time I ever read that, I always think it's just Denayer. Do you know what I mean? And apparently David Moyes, sorry about that. We're not that close. David Moyes managed Jason Denayer at Sunderland, and apparently he's been offered the chance to come back to West Ham. I don't believe this story, by the way, but we'll go. It's in the West Ham news, so we'll just discuss it quickly. And I just always imagine Jason Denayer, in the dressing room, excuse me, as somebody's left their deep heat on the dressing room floor. Jason, was it you? It weren't me, Gaffer. He just denies everything, does Jason the Denayer. And he's denied himself the opportunity to come to West Ham, apparently. Apparently, David Moyes, not Moisey, was desperate to have him back. And Jason Denayer has denied himself that. And instead, he has moved to Shabab Al-Ahli, basically. Instead, so he's not going to West Ham. He's going to Shabab. There we go. And that's about it. There we go. It's not the biggest, not the best, not the bustiest video today. Can I say that? I just did, didn't I? There you go. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow, probably with something or other. Who knows? Thanks very much for tuning in. Catch you then. What are you still doing here? You should have gone. When that thing, they call it an end slate, when the end slate pops up, that's when you should go. So I've got to thank Dom. It was actually Dom's idea for me to do this. He said, why don't you talk some more after the end slate? Then you get rid. So basically, anyone that's left now, you know what I'm going to say. You're all my favourites, right? You're all my favourites. So what I might do is I'm going to try and mix it up a little bit in this after section. I'm going to run it very, very infrequently. What we might start adding are some other little bits, for instance. I've got some ideas. I've got some ideas for some naughtiness, some ideas for some silliness. So we'll try and go with that. I haven't got much to show you today, apart from Gollum. There you go. So I'm basically working on my shelving in the man cave extension at the moment. Gollum, Schmeagol, but for those that you know, he doesn't. You've got to be very close. It's like Moise. It's like Moise and Moisey. So if you don't really know him, you've got to call him Gollum, and if you do know him, you call him Schmeagol. He's carrying a fish, scantily clad. He needs that fish. He looks like he could eat a bit. Anyway, there you go. I just thought I would say thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching. You are all my favourites. Do you know what? And those that clicked off early, they missed out on Gollum, didn't they? I'll definitely will catch up with you tomorrow.